All right, it's time for another week of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast, isn't it, buddy? Yes! So before we get started with the episode, you know the drill. We're going to tell you about the stuff that we have going on behind the scenes, like our social media pages, where you can interact with us all week, every week. We're not doing anything else. You can find us on Facebook, You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Can't Disappoint Podcast. And you can find us on Twitter at You Can't Disapod. All kinds of ways to interact with us and do fun polls and whatever we feel like doing every week.
Yeah, please send us your questions, thoughts, concerns, favorite moment from the episode, your MVP, and you can send that over to our email at can'tdisappointpodcast@gmail.com. We also have something else pretty exciting coming up. On February 1st, we are officially launching our Patreon.
What?
We're going to have a few different tiers that have goodies sprinkled out throughout them all, but we're going to do some pretty exciting stuff every week live for you guys, and we're going to get to interact even more with you, so we're super excited.
Yeah, that's going to be a great way to support us and to help us take things farther while also providing you a lot of extra content. One of the touchstones of that is our new weekly live-streamed pre-podcast, You Can't Dis a Pre-Show, which every Thursday in January is streaming for free on our social media platforms. Those have been a lot of fun, and we hope you hang out with us on those. And starting in February, we hope you'll support us on Patreon and join us there for those live stream events and all kinds of exclusive podcasts and we've been talking their ear off. Let's get into the episode of the podcast. Are you ready, Steven?
Away we go!
Oh my god! Joshua was racist. That came out of nowhere.
Did it?
A place free from darkness, and some are just natural jumpers. It's going to be a maze.
Maybe I just didn't want to believe it.
Hi everyone, welcome to another week of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. It's to the point of doing this show where it feels like slipping on a comfortable sweater, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a nice pair of Gucci slides.
Yeah, Steven's got a closet full of Gucci slides. Welcome to the show, everyone. As always, instant shout out to Communities on Twitter. Our proud papa gave direct birth to both me and Steven.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot for us.
There's
over
a video.
There. Yes, video going up on the Patreon next week.
Next week.
So yeah, but go follow Communities on Twitter if you haven't already, because it's if you're not following Communities on Twitter, are you even a Community fan? I don't think you are. I don't think so. Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Zach, and my white guilt is doing somersaults right now.
It's understandable. Hi, everyone. I'm Steven, and double bounce me. Do it!
Cries.
I hate you!
How are you doing this week? A couple things off the top is, as we're recording this, it's the first day after Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
And also, by the time this episode comes out, I'll be 24.
I know, it's almost birthday time.
But I'll be 24. I know that that's still young, but I feel like the closer to 25 I get and the less progress I've made in life.
Well, I feel like 24 is such a cool age because it's, when you're 21, you're like, oh, you're still young, 22, You're still pretty young. 23 is kind of like a middle ground. You're kind of just waiting, right? But 24, you're in your mid-20s. You're doing the thing. You're an adult.
Yeah. And I do feel like I'm doing the thing and that I'm being an adult, but I still feel like that. I don't know. Maybe it has a lot to do with the way we're talked to as youngins, but you have that, like, the grand journey of finding the great purpose. And I think something that's important as an adult is learning that purpose doesn't always equal, like, your purpose and your passion doesn't always equal, like, your career, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's more like as long as you make time for your purpose and passion and as long as you keep going towards it. And but I feel like as a kid we're like, you will do something great, I don't know.
That's like, I'm gonna be a doctor that cures all the diseases.
Yes. And instead you just turned into a ballroom dancer who's procured all of the diseases.
Exactly. Pneumonia, rickets,
COVID several times,
leprosy. I didn't think you could catch that one, but sure did.
So last week you were so confident about 2021 or projecting confidence. Is that held up?
Yeah, I think the year's off to it's on a good trajectory now. Yesterday was a cool day because it was, I think, the first time in probably 4 years that I have been like, probably 4.5, right? Because November is a few months ago. 4.5 years roundabout that I've been like, okay, I'm kind of proud to be an American today.
Yeah, and it's weird because like it's been so far the opposite direction for so long that I am almost like, am I an asshole if I'm patriotic?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Am I an asshole?
Because now my like view of patriotism is like MAGA hats and loud yelling. You know,
it's like just like looking both directions and being like, this is nice. But yesterday was really cool and special, and watching the inauguration on TV, and especially, regardless of the track record of both politicians, especially the swearing in of Kamala Harris as vice president, made me very emotional. And
it's a big thing.
Yeah. If we have kids, they're never going to grow up in a world where there hadn't been a woman in the direct line for the presidency.
Yeah.
And that's great.
It's really cool.
It's a better world to grow up in. But it came so shortly after, like pretty much as far the opposite of that you could get.
Yeah. The thing that killed me was that Trump wasn't even there. Like he just left. Like that was... Yeah. I don't know. Like not that I think of him as the classiest man on the planet, but I was like, even
following a lot of what the last couple weeks of his presidency have been like, I don't think anyone really expected any different. Yeah. But he is the first president since, I forget what the fact was. It might have
like
even
Lyndon
been like
Johnson or something like that.
1890 or something,
yeah.
But that hasn't come to an inauguration. And the people that hadn't before had a much better reason, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's weird. And it was also weird to watch the inauguration because of the lack of people.
Yeah.
And the way that it's like a historic and hopeful day for America, but it's like
in the middle of a pandemic.
And 10,000 National Guardsmen like ready for outbreak of something. Yeah, it's very, very dystopian.
Yeah, it really feels like we're in like a movie.
It feels like the Hunger Games. It really does. But the important takeaway is that despite all of that, the way that America is supposed to worked, and things are swinging the other way just like they swinged the opposite way last time, and that's the way things go, and it's good, and despite all the everything, it carries on, and I think that's nice.
Yeah.
What about on a personal level, though? How have you been feeling?
I'm good. I've been, just working and dancing. I've
working a lot.
Yeah. Extra days, but gotta bust that boogie. Bust a move.
You got inches of wall space left. You gotta cover them with.
I know. I gotta listen.
Somehow.
I'm really trying to find something that'll go right there in that little.
I like
spot.
those shelves.
Like
the actual
really
shelving fixtures.
I
want to get some stuff like that.
From
sure.
Amazon, yeah, really easy to put up too, because I'm not like handy at all.
Yes.
So if I can figure it out.
Did you have to put a hole in the wall, or is it like command strip type thing?
Hole in the wall. But command strips can do quite a bit.
They can. That's all my sound paneling is command strips. Anyway, This is a super exciting podcast conversation. Yeah. Are you still like? I don't know, projecting self-empowerment and improvement.
I am, yeah. I've stuck with it for 21 days to this point, which is actually probably longer than I stick with most of my New Year's things. I'm not really much for resolutions. But
so what does it mean for you? Is your daily routine changing because of it?
Are
you
doing
a little
more
bit.
Things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just trying to throw myself in 100% to more stuff.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think what would be so nice and restorative, Lily and I have been talking about taking a trip to like a cabin and mindfully putting our phones away and disconnecting and connecting with each other and like bring a bunch of games, bring a bunch of books, bring a bunch of music, and maybe like write something. I don't know. I think that would
Hell yeah.
I don't know. That's something that, like, if I'm gonna do it, I literally have to plan a way to do it, or else I'll never do it. And I think it'd be fun to
That would be awesome.
disconnect like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of places you can go around here. There's, nearby me. You could make a whole trip of it. Come by, see me, I guess.
That had no part in the plan.
You can drive by and egg my house, and then
That sounds nice.
yeah, and
I
then
could
go
do
there.
that.
That's a good start for the.
We need to do
therapeutic
something.
time.
That needs to be a 2020. We need to do something this year for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll see what I have going on.
Okay, so I think that's as good of a place as any to sidestep into the show that we're here to do. Yeah.
Yeah. All
We're
right.
gonna
Here we
talk about
go.
Season 2, Episode 7 of Cheers. What?
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
Oh, I was gonna go the Parks and Rec route, so
Nice.
we're good.
We were on the same page. We're talking about Aerodynamics of Gender, written by Adam County. This is his first writing credit, but he also wrote Intro to Political Science, the class president election episode,
Yeah.
which is a good one.
Pop,
Studies
pop.
in Modern Movement, which I think is the Annie's Move episode. And Curriculum Unavailable, which I forget which one that is off the top of my head. It might be like the Fake Clip Show episode.
Well, county
So good.
in.
Okay. And it was directed by the great Tristram Shapiro, who directs many episodes over the course of the series. And it originally aired on November 4th, 2010.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just thinking of more county puns. I'm
I'll
not gonna
wait.
say them; they're not good.
I'll wait.
I wonder, whether he ever was a county champion. Yeah, see, I told you, they're not good.
Before we get into trivia, let's talk a little bit about the week ahead, because we've got some big stuff coming up. A week from when this episode is released is the launch of our Patreon on February 1st.
Woo-hoo!
Super excited about it. We'll talk at the end of this episode about the last 2 tiers. We've talked about the previous ones before this. And on the launch day, there's going to be already stuff to listen to. I'm going to archive the You Can't Disagree shows from this month. Those will be there for you to listen to as an audio podcast or to watch the video back. And I've been working on my side project, in the first episode of my side project, Nerdstalgia, where I look at things from both mine and other people's childhoods as a war-hardened adult and see if they stand the test of time. The first one of that will be out that day, talking about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, which turned 17 years old this year.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. No, I'm not kidding you.
You're
17 years
serious?
ago. Yes.
I saw
It was
that in the theater.
2004. It
Am
came
I
out
old
the
enough
same
to-
year as American Idiot.
Wow. Wow.
George W. Bush was the president.
Yeah, he doesn't like broccoli.
He doesn't like broccoli?
No. There was that press conference he did, and he was like in Iraq. He's like in some other country. He's like, I know this is, really important thing. A lot of you have been weighing on your minds. I'll be honest. I do not like broccoli. And it was
Is that
like
really
a real
true? He really did that? The president of the United
Yeah.
States?
And he
Wow.
was still so much better than Donald Trump. It's crazy. Now I'm actually a George Bush fan nowadays.
Well, there's issues with that because he's really been softened in the media and we look at him a lot more warmly, but it shouldn't be forgotten that he was an awful president.
He wasn't
And
good.
I think saying he was a lot better than Donald Trump is an overstatement.
I will say the country's mindset and the way it
Sure.
was, I much
But
prefer.
the man in charge and the stuff he was doing, and also importantly, the way that he could be whispered in his ear to.
Yeah,
was pretty
I
bad.
think that's the thing about him is he was kind of just doing what Daddy wanted him to do.
Dick Cheney, whatever he said. What were we talking about? The Patreon. So yeah,
Patreon.
my Dick Cheney side podcast. The first episode of Nerdstalgia about SpongeBob will be out the first day. It's a lot of fun. I hope you check it out. And all kinds of stuff will be going on. There's
Yeah.
one more free You Can't Disagree show next week. Our friend's coming back. Who is it?
Our buddy Alex Webster.
Yeah, he hung out with us for Contemporary American Poultry, and next week is Cooperative Calligraphy, which is one of the all-time great episodes of the entire series. The first completely strict bottle episode of the series.
Yeah.
And Alex is really cool and really intelligent when it comes to film and TV, so he's going to be great next week. And we're going to play some games on You Can't Disagree Show, the last free one next week on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So come hang out. It'll be fun.
It's going to be a blast and a half.
We played Among Us for the pre-show today. You can go back and watch it if you want. And that was fun, too. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I did. I really liked that. That was cool, getting to play with the group of guys and I stuck true to my name. I said I was going to be innocent the whole time, and
you weren't an imposter once, were you?
Not once. No, I was just cooling, doing my tasks.
To sidestep back to the Patreon for a second, we're going to do all kinds of fun, exclusive stuff there, including the pre-show every week and side projects from the both of us. But also we're going to do fun live-streamed game nights, and I think it'd be fun. That'd be a great way to open up a game of Among Us to some patrons, and you guys could play with us. Maybe we could all even hop in a Zoom call or something and play Among Us together. We'll probably do some Jackbox game nights. We'll maybe just do nights where we get on and argue about something. You had an idea about just arguing about stuff recently that I think would be just a lot of fun.
Pick something and we'll fight about it.
So yeah, the link is patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. You can subscribe starting February 1st. And a pro tip is that regardless of when you sign up for someone on Patreon, Patreon will charge you on the 1st of next month. So even if you subscribed on the 30th of January, you would get charged your second month on the 1st of February. So come subscribe early in the month if you want a full month of content.
Get the most out of it. Maximize your experience. Why delay your happiness?
I even had the idea today is that we should occasionally, through Patreon, totally live stream as we record the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then the edited version will come out at the end of the week or whatever. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about aerodynamics of gender. Let's do some trivia.
Trivia time!
Every time now I think you said it when your mom was on. I always think act trivia.
We need to record that and get it played every
time. The last thing I didn't mention. Patreon launch day, February 1st. We're doing an all-day live stream. We're looking at 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, but keep up to date on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages to see if anything changes. We're going to have guests. We're going to play games. We're going to have heart-to-heart conversations, and we're going to beg you for money. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please hang out with us then. Trivia. Okay, why don't you go first? I've talked too much.
Okie dokie. I have 4 questions today.
I do as well.
Bang, bang, bang. I don't think I have any that are too hard today, but the first one.
Don't either.
What does Troy refer to himself as when playing basketball?
The bus driver.
Yeah.
Because he's going to take you to
your
school.
ass to school.
Yeah. I don't cuss, so I didn't say ass.
Don't worry. Zach's grandparents, he did not say ass.
I didn't say it, guys.
All right, your go.
What is the range of Pierce's dragon flyer?
Oh, is it 100 yards?
It sure is. Ring-a-dingy-ding.
What class do the girls and Abed sign up for? What is it called?
It's I'm gonna get the wording wrong, but it's female representation in film.
I think. Now, the first word I thought was feminist representation in media.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was something like that.
Close enough, yeah.
I feel like that should count because we're doing well so far, and don't let me be the reason it dies, okay?
I think that was solid.
Okay, what does Abed sometimes do on Wednesdays? It's a line towards the beginning of the episode.
Eats in Jeff's car.
Yes.
Don't tell him.
Yes, great job.
Woo! All right, here we go. This is probably my hardest one. What does Abed criticize about Annie, Britta, and Shirley? When he realizes that they're bitches, what does he say?
Well, Shirley, it's uncomfortable because he mentions her weight.
Mm-hmm.
Annie makes a snorting sound when she laughs.
Mm-hmm.
Did he liken it to something that I'm not getting?
He said I was just more like what he's poking fun at. I didn't even need specifics, so you're right. He said her laugh was like a piglet. When
I'm trying really hard to remember Britta's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Britta's.
It's okay. It was her skin, her puffy skin.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
She had buttons for eyes. That's okay.
I tried really hard.
You got 2 out of 3 though. That's almost a full point.
This one should be really easy. What does Pierce see at his trampoline apex?
His dad. Papa. Father. All right.
Okay.
What does Joshua say that his tattoo's going to be?
A maze.
A maze.
And you're definitely going to get my last one because what is the name of the racist trampoline guardian?
Joshua.
There we go. Look at that. That was
really
100%.
freaking good. Yeah.
In total, that was like 95%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
that was
even
really
a little
solid.
higher. Yeah.
Good for us.
Let's see if this continues into what we have been sent this week. And plug to send us in your trivia and your favorite funny moment and your episode MVP for Cooperative Calligraphy next week. It's a huge episode that's really kicking off the string of hugest episodes in season 2. So it's a great time to get on board. If you email us, it will almost absolutely definitely be read out loud on the show.
Yeah.
What do we got this week?
All right.
Can't disappoint podcast at gmail.com, people.
One of us got to know it. This first one is from Danny. She says, hello. Hope y'all are doing great today. I always remember both stories in this episode, but forget that they go in the same one. It's not in my top episodes, but it definitely has a ton of really funny stuff. I laughed a lot with Chang in this one, but my funniest moment has to go to Troy crying on the trampoline. So good. Here are her questions. Okay, finish the line. But then you started bouncing like a baby in the...
Nope.
I think he says like on a lap or something like that, like a baby on their mother's lap.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, we'll check, but it's a good one. According to Abed, what does Megan look like when she squints, and why?
I don't know.
I don't know that one either.
Danny, we were doing so well.
What class did Britta take with Charisse? Is
Sociology.
Charisse... Nice. Is that the one that looks like a man in those jeans?
I think that's the one. I just remember Abed walking up to her, and you don't really hear what he's saying, and he goes, "It's bad."
Yeah,
bad.
He's like, "You look like a man in those jeans." Bad. Okay. In how many days is Troy's birthday? Shown
14.
in one of Abed's RoboCop graphs. 14.
14.
Nice.
That's one thing that in Abed's robot vision thing, a lot of the next couple episodes, stuff from them is referenced in it.
Oh,
like,
that's
there's
cool.
Stuff like convince the study group to do another paintball, or like I forget off the top of my head what a few of them were, but there were a lot of things from the next handful of episodes. Which was
that's
cool.
awesome. I should pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You really should. Year of Steven, huh?
Year of Steven. Name a couple of things that Chang is shown eating throughout the episode. Ice cream at the end.
Ice cream. Like cereal and milk.
That's great.
And
I don't know any other ones.
Yeah, I can't remember anything else. But I'll give us credit for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. P.S. Absolutely love You Can't Disappre show. So
Nice.
fun. Much love, Danny. Well, thanks, Danny.
We like it too.
Yeah.
That's become... it just gets me in the right mood to do this thing.
Yeah,
and it's
I
a lot
really
of
like
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Super
so
fun.
come hang out with us. And especially when you have to give us money to do it, come do it.
Yes, please do.
Starting in February.
Lots of it. Our next email is from the iconic Lord of Twitter, Peep Reviews. Hey, kids. Do you have
Steven
something?
and I's mutual significant other.
Exactly.
We're
Do
very
you
happy,
have
thank
something, guilty pleasure or even just jumping on a trampoline, that gives you the euphoria that Troy and Jeff experience?
Ketamine. Guilty pleasure, but like an action.
Mm-hmm.
Masturbating?
Is that... Other than that, I guess... I think I go to the chiropractor. Yeah, I go to the chiropractor twice a week and like ask them to be like really, really like hard on me because I have a fairly high pain tolerance. And
It's like I haven't been touched in years.
yeah, it's
Make
real
me
lonely
feel
during this
something.
whole pandemic thing in Chicago. So I think the 30 minutes that I'm there getting my muscles thrown around and jolted and cracked is probably that for me.
That's an interesting, because I was thinking like childlike. Like, so I'm thinking of you as like a child going to the chiropractor, like, oh, my back's really up this week, guys. Do whatever
Like, man,
you want
I
to
took
me.
a nasty fall off the jungle gym and I am not feeling
So if
right.
we're going more broader with it, satisfying stuff that's Guilty pleasure. I don't know. I don't have a quick answer to this question.
What about like is there like a certain way that you like pet your cat and you're like, ooh, this is good for me too, or anything like that?
What?
I don't know. I don't have a cat. I don't know what it's like.
You just are trying to think of things that I talk a lot about, and one of them is my cat. Pass. I don't have an answer. Thank you.
They go on to say that their MVP is Abed because he's just trying to fit in. P.S. Zach, please clean the cast iron skillet. Smiley face with with an extra chin. Thanks. Smiley face with lots of chins. Lil. Sent from her iPhone.
We make dinner at home every day, just about, and I make Lil clean the cast iron skillet, which we use for just about every meal. Every time, I'm usually like, oh, I'll go grab the, clean that pan real quick. Thanks. Checks podcast views on the toilet.
Thanks for writing in, Lil. Yeah, he's not going to do it. But.
Yeah, thanks for writing in and coming up with something about the episode that we watched together last night, just so you could passive-aggressively ask me to do chores.
That's fantastic. Our next one is from our proud papa, Communies. Hi, guys. I always thought this was an underrated episode. We get a secret trampoline. What's your favorite part of the heads-up display that Abed uses to annihilate bitches? My favorite is all the references to future episodes, but it's really nice. It's a really nice touch to have him commenting almost actually happening in that episode. As a little part, okay, well, I guess what was your favorite part of the heads-up display? I'll stop there.
I think I'll pick a favorite as we look through it, because I didn't pause and stop to read every bit of it, because I figured we'd do that while we go through it now.
Yeah, the only thing I noticed was the percentage that told how much bitch was in front of them.
Of a bitch they were.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice touch to kind of see how Abed's brain works. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk more about how I felt about the episode a little later in the program.
Yeah.
Not terrible, but we'll get to it.
Mm-hmm. As a little part of the broader universe of community-related things, Andy Dick went on to be in at least 2 episodes of Netflix's Love with Gillian Jacobs. He absolutely was in that show a couple times because they went to Slaw together.
I've never seen the final season of Love, but I've very much enjoyed the first 2. And Andy Dick was kind of like, oh, you're still putting this guy and stuff? But the episode he was in was pretty funny. Yeah.
I like Love quite a bit. I really enjoyed it. I still think that the joke of Paul Rust making up songs for movies that don't have theme songs was
There's
pretty
some
great.
funny stuff about that show.
Yeah. Good one for sure. Alcohol!
I think there is a non-zero chance that the future of this podcast may be us going through the community cast's other projects.
Other stuff, yeah.
And I could totally see us talking about Love 2 episodes a week for a couple months.
Absolutely.
When we're in our mid-40s, still doing this show.
And I think that really Gillian was... yeah. I don't have the answers for you this time. It's been a long day. But what was the first observations that Abed made about the girl sitting up front? Oh, I know one of them. It was that her sleeves were too tight and it was pushing all her fat towards her elbows.
Bra padding. Looking like you're smuggling 2 fruits or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I don't remember it any specifically more than that. But
yeah, he's like that one. I don't remember what he said about the first girl. Here's an easy one. Who helped Pierce get the information off the Dragon Flyer?
It was Leonard.
Yeah, good old Leonard. That was a really funny scene.
Yes.
What is the name of Hilary Duff's character? Megan. Yeah. Have a great one, guys. Communities, Matt. Thanks, Pop.
Thanks for writing in even on a long day.
Yeah. All right, that's all for that, folks.
That was fun. Thanks for writing in. Again, Can't Disappoint Podcast at gmail.com. Cooperative calligraphy next week. Get those questions in by Thursday, and we'll have a good time. It's like you're really here. Did you just burp?
No, I said do it.
I went, Do it. So yeah, let's move on to the next thing. Let's talk about our favorite funny moments of the episode.
Yeah, what was yours?
I think one of them off the top of my head, the 2 that come to mind, the one off the top of my head is what we just mentioned, the enhance it. It's like how to get pictures off of camera or something like that. And it's like, great, now blow it up, and they make it into a large print. That was a really funny scene, and I also really liked Chang. Yo, you just made me snarf, yo. With milk coming out of his nose.
That was really funny.
Chang's inclusion in this episode was completely pointless. But that made me laugh really hard.
It was so good. It was used perfectly, even to the point where he was like standing outside the study room, and Jeff, like even calm, relaxed Jeff, slouched the door on him. My favorite moment had to be the trampoline scene with Pierce yelling at Troy to double bounce him, and Troy just crying, saying he hates him, and it's just so funny.
Now here's the thing: that scene was really funny, and the way that they edited it together worked. But there are shots from behind Pierce where it's very clear that it's not Chevy because he's getting a lot more physical with it.
Oh,
he's
really?
like lifting up his legs and moving his arms. And then the shots of Chevy, they're doing like some extra camera work, panning up and down
to make it seem like he's moving more.
And when he's actually jumping, he's just like bouncing. I don't think he's actually lifting off of the trampoline at all.
That's
which
pretty
also
funny.
kind of added to the humor, but it is a really funny scene. Yeah. Are you ready for your challenge of the week?
I think I am. I'm calm, cool, collected.
This segment really has become one of my favorite moments of the show.
It's fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's time to kick it off.
I have to redeem myself because last week was not great.
Yeah, but so far, ever since we came back from Christmas break, because I screwed up the first one, the last one wasn't that great. We've got to get it. There's another thing that we haven't done since coming back for Christmas break or whatever. I really liked how in the first episodes of season 2, we had this running gag that each episode had a sponsor. And I think we should continue that. Of course, we have a sponsor this week because we're businessmen. We can get into that later, I suppose. But now let's kick off another round of Argentina's number 5 favorite segment on You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. Did Steven watch the episode this week?
I watched the parts with Hilary Duff in it.
Multiple times on my phone. Are you ready for me to kick off the timer?
I am.
On go.
On go.
3, 2, 1, go.
So this week the boys are playing basketball and the girls are like, ew, gross. And then the boys are kind of getting competitive, but Pierce isn't in it. So the girls join a class about women. Abed comes too, and they start talking shit about all these girls because they're kind of rude, like Mean Girls type stuff. But then the boys find a trampoline, at least, they 2 of them find it. And they bounce the trampoline, really, really fun. Pierce is jealous. He says, drone, I'm going to get you. But then the girls are mean. Then all the bitches are bitches. And Abed calls them all bitches, triple bitches. And then Abed...
You tried really hard. But you didn't really get into the meat of the Abed story at all.
I forgot Troy and Jeff's names.
The Pierce of it. Yeah,
It's not great. I'd give myself a C on that one.
I gave you a C+ last week.
Yeah.
This one was faster, but I don't know if the content was actually any better. I think you described more last week. I think I have to say C-.
Yeah, that was not good.
I'm really rooting for you in these. I know you've got it in you.
I know. It's so hard. There's so much stuff that happens in every episode.
You've clearly got the drive.
Yeah.
So let's talk. So last week I mentioned that this was this week's episode, and you didn't really remember it off the top of your head. Was it more familiar when we watched it?
Definitely, especially once, like, the trampoline part I definitely remembered.
Yeah.
And then I did recall the Mean Girls stuff. I don't know why this one just wasn't in my mind at all, but as soon as it started going, I was like, oh, I remember this. It's funny.
Well, then back that up with how did you feel about it? Do you think maybe there is a reason that you didn't remember this one as much?
I mean, it's not the best episode of the show, but I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of jokes that don't hold up, but...
Yeah, it's kind of...
There's one in particular that was really like, holy shit. Did she just say that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's an episode that would have worked really well in season 1. But now we're to like the point where Community's really blowing on all cylinders. I don't know if that's a phrase, blowing on all cylinders. That's not it, is it? But
nope.
It's been doing so well the last couple weeks that this was a little off. I don't know.
I will say that I think that, like, in terms of subject matter, this episode is comparable to the Schmidt one, right? Because it's a group that's not the study group that some of the study group has to go against in kind of a childish way.
Sure.
But I like this episode leaps and bounds more than the Schmidt episode.
I think on my ranking list, I put this below that one.
Yeah, the Schmidt episode is, I think, the worst.
But I'm struggling to remember.
So
do you remember what the subplot was in the Schmidt episode? Art of Discourse. Oh, that was the one where Choi and Abed were doing like a college bucket list
experience.
of stuff.
Yeah,
and it has the bit where Pierce pantses Shirley, and he gets kicked out of the study group because Shirley's really upset about it.
Yep.
I think I might like that episode like a hair more than this one. But I don't dislike this one. There are a lot of funny bits. I think, I don't know, let's get into it. Because I really think that kind of the weirdness of this episode starts from the beginning. The scene that leads up to the theme song I thought was a little off feeling.
It definitely is kind of weird that they'd be out here playing basketball like this. And
It
then
seems
the
out
girls
of
are
character.
Like,
It seems like an episode of Scrubs where they're like playing
oh my god, it does
outside
seem like
the
an episode
hospital.
of Scrubs.
Yeah. I do like Abed's basketball clothes that he's got on.
Yeah.
I feel like they asked him yesterday if he wanted to play basketball today, so he went to a store and tried to buy these basketball clothes, which is pretty funny. Choi does this like victory dance. Jeff and Troy are kind of toxic masculinity, ribbing at each other while they play
A
basketball.
lot of talk of butts.
That which Britta brings up, bringing the girls who are sitting in a table into what's going on here. But I don't know what feels off about it. I feel like even Troy, when he's being goofy and like doing the victory dance, something feels off, and I don't know what it is. Does it feel off to you too, or am I just weird?
I think you might just be weird.
That's probably true. So the girls are talking about how Britta's talking about how the boys are just talking about butts a lot, and kind of akin to her thinking fighting is gay in the first season Christmas episode.
Yeah, which I think is a funny
observation.
Yeah.
I don't know that we say butt as often as they do here, but definitely like kick your butt. Maybe we do.
Bruh,
Maybe it's true.
The words "beat your ass" together. I mean,
Yeah.
and that comes out quite a bit, in man
Pierce
talk.
later, my balls on your butt. That's a really funny moment too. It is kind of, they're on the nose of something talking about this, but they Shirley and Annie aren't really eating it up that much. They're more excited about this women in media class. I didn't see what it was actually called.
I think they say it in a little bit again.
They think of it as a good way to get away from the guys and to do something together. And I like that they're doing this and the girls all have a storyline together. But what I don't like is in this entire episode, it's not really like Shirley, Annie, and Britta are doing this. It's like the girls.
The girls.
As a unit.
And I don't think the three of them ever are or really have been a unit like that together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That also kind of feels like Scrubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
the boys are doing this and the girls are doing this one.
Yes.
And that's not usually how this show splits it up.
Maybe that's what it is. It's a very sitcom stereotype setup that Community doesn't usually do.
I definitely will agree with you. This feels like it could be a season 1 episode.
Now, both plot lines go a little bit weirder and farther than season 1 would have, but the setups, and especially like the bitches thing, I don't know. It does feel a little season 1. All the girls are excited, and I like that whenever they're excited about something in this episode, Shirley always does this move with her hands, like this excited dance that she does.
It's really
Annie
cute.
tries to get them to all come in for a boob bump, which the girls drop down, and that's something that feels like a line out of a male-dominant writer's room. That are trying to write like what girls are doing when they are
boob
all off
bump.
together.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that really before.
It's men do it. This episode does something that a couple episodes in season 1 did, where the show is setting up this storyline that could let them do something interesting with the female characters on the show when it's very male dominant. and then it always seems like the writer's room don't really know what to do with it once they set it up. Kind of like in like the bathroom episode
exactly
from
like that
early
one.
season 1, where this ends up becoming in for Abed to act weird, and they don't do anything really interesting with the girls in this episode at all.
No, the girls just turn into kind of just a mob of mean girls that's no different from...
Yeah. Pierce walks in and starts this chain of events in this episode that I really like, where he dove way deep into something that the other guys were into like yesterday or a week ago, and by the time he's done it, everyone else is over it. So they were into remote control cars, and they probably spent like $20 on remote control cars. So Pierce like special ordered this
super nice drone,
4-propeller helicopter looking thing that he probably had to wait for weeks to get there. Kind of akin to the earnoculars from season 1 a little bit. And, of course, Jeff and Troy are over it. And they're like, no, we got rid of those cars. We left them at home. I don't know. And Pierce does this a couple times throughout the episode where he tries to do what the guys are into, and they're always over it by the time Pierce gets to it.
Yeah, season 2 Pierce so far, I've enjoyed his character quite a bit. Yeah, because he's what he needs to be, the confused old man that's just a few steps behind.
And that he's angry about it. And I like Pierce in this episode. But I feel like I can see through Pierce how not fun Chevy Chase was to work with.
Yeah.
What's presented on screen works, but I can only imagine how annoying it would have been, because all they do on commentaries is tell stories about how Chevy just didn't get any of it, and he'd have to be explained what the joke was or how to say the words. Like right here, he says biatch. I guess he didn't know how to, he said like biotch or something like that, and he didn't get what biatch was, and they had to explain it to him, and he like yells about it when he does. So what's presented on screen is really funny, but it's almost like, I don't know, am I still allowed to like a Kevin Spacey movie because it's a good movie? You know what I mean? It's really hard to separate Chevy from Pierce. So yeah, Pierce is showing off this dragon flyer thing. It's like a drone with a spy cam, but this was a little bit before the popularity of drones, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But Troy and Jeff are not interested at all because they're playing basketball now. They're on like a toxic masculinity thing, and Pierce's purchase was for nothing. So Pierce kind of starts messing with them with the drone, flying it in their faces. Jeff tries to throw the basketball at it and throws it at the girls who are still talking. Lily pointed out to me, and now I can't not see it, that there are a lot of shots where you can see a string on the drone.
Oh, no,
it's
really?
Being carried around by a string, yeah.
That's funny.
The girls get upset and leave because the boys are being all masculine. They're going to go on a journey of self-empowerment. But that journey of self-empowerment never comes, so this all feels really false.
Yeah.
And it feels back to, like, them not knowing how to write Britta in the first handful of episodes. It's weird.
Yeah, because Britta hasn't been this, like...
stupid.
Yeah, in a while.
Now, there's some really, really funny Gillian Jacobs Britta moments.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we'll talk to it more when we get to specific scenes, but there are pretty big things where I think the women are doing the wrong thing in this episode, and I don't believe that none of them would be like, is this okay? You know what I mean?
I have a hard time, especially with like
Britta.
Annie, and I think that Annie from some of this, I don't think she'd be cool with it all. Now Shirley likes to gossip and likes to be part of a group, so that, she'll roll with whatever.
Isn't really like, I feel like she's kind of ashamed that she's like that. I still don't think that she'd be all up it with Abed. I don't know. It's a little weird. We'll talk about that as we get deeper in that storyline. Mm-hmm. But the women walk away. The guys kind of laugh it off. And this is how Abed gets involved with their storyline. I think maybe he's realizing that the basketball game isn't really for him. And that seems to be what Troy and Jeff are doing. So he's going to see what the girls are up to. And he decides he's going to join this class, probably just because media is involved. Mm-hmm. And the girls wanted it to be a thing just for them so they could do it together. And Abed just doesn't pick up on that at all. He's like, yeah, it sounds like it. I'll be right there. And I feel like I've been that guy in a situation before.
Listen, that's how I ended up here. I was like, you're like, hey, I'm starting this podcast. I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, cool. I can't wait to do this together.
Yeah. So you were like, oh, I was just gonna maybe pretend like I would listen to it. Troy is taunting Jeff for beating him in basketball, and he's doing a silly dance and singing a silly song. Jeff throws the basketball, and it goes over the hedge or whatever. And that shot right there, you can just so tell that they're right next door to like a soundstage.
Yeah.
It's just this black like void building. You can so tell that it's like on a lot. They
Yeah,
do a good
and like
job with the set, but then they pan over there, and it's so clearly a lot, and we're supposed to think that there's a secret garden with a trampoline just beyond this hedge.
Yeah, I like that they do stuff outside.
Sure.
But every time they do, you can tell that.
But honestly, I don't think I ever noticed this until I started doing this podcast and I listened to the commentary and they pointed it out. But this one is a little egregious. This one is a little bit more standing out.
Yeah.
So Troy goes off to find the ball, and this really kicks off Troy and Jeff's storyline for this episode.
Which I really enjoy.
Which I enjoy, but the way it kicks off here is weird. Troy goes through this hedge, and there's a little bit of a maze to get to this, like, cool-looking half door that has, like, a stained glass thing. He opens it, and it's brighter, like when Dorothy is in Oz for the first time.
The soft lighting and
yeah, it's really saturated and bright. But he walks in and walks towards the ball, and this is where the show cuts to theme song, and the way that it does it is weird. It's clear that Troy sees something, it gets brighter, and then it cuts into the theme song.
Yeah, I did think that was
transition.
Weird. It's going to be a fascinating transition. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. But then we get to listen to the theme song. So as soon as I think, oh, that was weird, then I'm like, give me some hope.
Yeah.
Have a dream. This is nice. What was I talking about before? After the theme song, the girls are walking into their class, and Abed saved 3 seats next to him for them.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, but they still want their own space. And I get this part of the girls' storyline. Mm-hmm. But I also think at this point I would just sit with my friend.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be like, I don't know. You hang out all day, every day. It's going to be awkward.
Yeah, and I get that Abed didn't get the hint the first time, but I also feel like here Britta would have said to Abed, listen.
They give an excuse about how Annie doesn't have glasses, and that's why they can't sit next to him. They have to sit closer to the teacher, but Annie's never worn glasses, and there's a weird thing where like Abed argues whether or not they're telling the truth, but then he just accepts it. And I don't know if it's just that Abed like accepts what he's told, that he takes it as fact.
Yeah. Well, he's like, well, why would Annie, my friend, lie to me?
Damn. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, why would Steven, my friend, lie to me when I asked him about doing a podcast together? He probably really wants to do it. Yeah, then, Steven talks about the beginning of this podcast. And he's like, yeah, I just thought we'd do a couple of them. And thought we'd 40 weeks later.
Thought we'd sit around in Zach's room again and record on his phone. Set it on the floor between us. That'd
be kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls go to sit closer to the front, and they kind of talk crap a little bit about Abed, and like if they should feel bad and how Abed should have picked up. And this introduces the clique of mean girls. And boy, not that she's not always, but was this a point in her life where Hilary Duff was just beautiful?
I think Hilary Duff has
always been beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say she isn't.
More and more as time has gone on.
Even more so here than what I'm used to.
Yeah,
I feel like she's at this great point where she looks very adult, but she's still got a lot of the vibrance from her younger days.
The Lizzie McGuire days, yeah.
Lizzie McGuire, of course.
I had a big crush on Lizzie McGuire when I was growing up.
I almost feel like Lizzie McGuire was a little bit before our time. I feel like my sister watched Lizzie McGuire because she was like a teenager when it was on, and it was kind of like how Drake and Josh was kind of like for teenagers. Mm-hmm. I think. I remember watching it. I remember when the movie came out.
The movie slaps.
The movie does slap. I'll give you that one. I watch a show now that's an insane guilty pleasure and is mostly just a guilty, not even pleasure at this point. but I just keep watching because it keeps being on. This show that Hilary Duff is on TV Land called Younger.
Is that on TV Land? TV Land now?
It's always been. Well, it started on TV Land, and now it's on some different channel.
Oh. It's because I thought she had one on the CW, or am I thinking of something else?
She might have, but I think that's something else.
Yeah,
Younger,
I've heard. I want to watch Younger. I would like that.
It's got. Do you know who Sutton Foster is?
Yeah,
she's a big Broadway star. She's the lead in it, and she's like a woman. In the beginning of the show, she's like a woman in her 40s who poses as a woman in her 20s to be able to get a job at this publishing agency. And it was kind of cute when it first started. I think it's created by the guy who created Sex and the City. And the more it goes on, the worse and sillier it gets. And now I wish I didn't watch it. But maybe we should do a podcast about Younger.
There we go.
But Hilary Duff is a welcome face to see in a TV show. And it's weird that she's in this, but not exactly billed as like a guest star.
She's just in it.
I wonder if this was kind of a point in her career where this was kind of what she was doing.
It might be.
Because it was after the kid stuff and before, a show like Younger. And I don't think she really went to be really a big movie star after Disney. Maybe she was in a couple movies, but I think she...
Yeah, her sister did a lot of like Hallmark and Lifetime movies, but I don't think she was in that many.
And like even now, I feel like Hilary Duff is mostly famous. Like she's not really an A-lister. I feel like we know, like people who knew her when she was young are the people who still recognize her.
Yeah, she was married to this hockey player for a little while. I remember that was in the news. Then they got a divorce. She's with a new guy now. She's actually,
really?
You know who she's married to, Zach? The guy who wrote Clarity, the song by the DJ Zed.
I don't think I know that song.
You might clarity.
Oh.
Yeah, that one. She's married to that guy who wrote
When
that.
you started doing that, I was like, this is not going to lead to me recognizing, but it did. You just said the title of the song in the sing-song voice, and I got it.
Exactly.
But yeah, Hilary Duff is Megan, the leader of this clique of mean girls, and they walk up to Shirley, Annie, and Britta, who are apparently sitting in seats that they expected to claim. And the girls are really rude. I can see why you liken it to the Schmitty storyline. And I can see why you like it better than the Schmitty storyline because it's less, it's a lot less obnoxious.
Yeah.
But at least the Schmitty kids are like, it's so stupid that it's a little funny. This is just weird and unrealistic.
It's rude.
But I do kind of also like whenever they do something on the show that shows that like the other students there are actual people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
That is nice.
But the girls all exchange kind of quips with each other. The study group girls aren't really planning on giving the seats up, but then the girls, guest girls are all really mean to them, call out things about their appearances, and make them feel bad about themselves. So they do call the bluff, and they get up and they leave and sit back by Abed and let these mean girls have their seats. Which then really ties Abed into the girls' storyline because he's picking up on everything that's happening here. And
the hole in her sweater's armpit.
Yeah, Abed starts saying out loud things that are noticeable about these women, and it doesn't start off the way that it becomes because Abed just like describes what he sees. And then the girls start giving him this attention of like, oh, you're being catty, like, oh, you're fitting in with us. Oh, when you say stuff like that, you get attention that's positive from us. And it kind of starts Abed's spiral in this episode.
Yeah.
They like that they like that Abed will say mean things about these girls, and Abed wanted to be a part of them in this class anyway, so I think he goes right to it, the attention that he's given. Now we cut back to this outdoor labyrinth. We still haven't gotten the reveal. Jeff is chasing after Troy to try to find him and the ball, and he comes through the little stained glass half door, which is a really cool set piece.
Yeah, I really do like that door.
A lot of this secret garden that they've built up looks very manufactured, but that one set piece is pretty cool. Also, the lighting makes me think soap opera.
Yeah. It's like that episode of It's Always Sunny when they're trying to like make their bar like and
trendy.
They put that lighting on D. It's
Totally.
like that. It's just really like soft, bright.
We get the reveal of the trampoline, and Jeff Troy is going crazy on it, and it's a huge trampoline. It looks like a lot of fun. Did you ever trampoline? Either
I
of your own
had
accord
some
or
childhood
friends'
friends
accord?
that had a trampoline, and boy, was it fun. I think at any age, a trampoline can be fun.
Can be a lot of fun. That's why places like Sky Zone, this place that we have in Fishers, Indiana, that's
Which
kind of
I've
like
never been to. I want to
a
go. someplace like
trampoline
that.
park where there's just different activities. There's a room where like both the floor is a huge trampoline and the walls are a trampoline too, so you can kind of like bounce off the walls and stuff. And
There was
it's
that place
pretty fun.
called Bounce City that was open in our town for
I
a
was
very
not allowed
brief...
to go there.
Yeah, me neither.
I just heard horror stories of how like the employees would like shoot kids with airsoft guns.
Oh my god, I'd believe it. That place sounded like a zoo.
I'd have friends that go there and be like, yeah, look what I got lodged in my skin because they shot pellets at me while I was trying to play. Bounce City was this, so Sky Zone is a trampoline park, but it's one that it's like a chain and they put a lot of money into it and it's really high quality. Bounce City was like these local people bought the abandoned Kmart that was empty.
Yeah!
And I never stepped inside the place, so
They
I don't
just
know what it
filled
was
it with
like on the
trampolines.
inside, but it was not quite up to snuff, I imagine.
Like, people used to go there to fight.
Did you go? Had you ever
No,
been
I
there?
was never allowed.
Yeah.
My mom
But
said,
did you
"Mm-mm."
you kind of wanted to though?
Oh
didn't
yeah, I wanted to see what it was like.
I did
It was
too.
like, if you've ever heard like the jokes, like the Kevin Hart has that stand up about where he hires a SpongeBob, but the SpongeBob for his kid's birthday party was like smoking cigarettes
That's
and like
funny.
drinking and like calling the kids names. That was Bounce City.
I feel like the experience of being a young, now maybe I don't know if it's different for you, but I feel like the experience of being a young boy growing up in the Midwest is you're one of two people. You either have a trampoline or you have a friend that has a trampoline.
Yeah, totally.
But regardless, you're trampolining.
Yeah, if you can be on that trampoline, you're on it. Like,
It was
you're
great
on
living
there.
in like the neighborhood that I did because like my next door neighbor had a trampoline.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was both friends with them and played with them on it all the time and was allowed to go over and play on it if they weren't home if I wanted to.
Oh, now that's a sweet deal.
It was nice.
Yeah.
But now that I'm an adult, being on a trampoline would be fun. But I don't think I'll ever have a trampoline in my yard, especially when I have kids because they
No.
probably get hurt.
Yeah.
But I encourage them to be the friend that has a trampoline friend.
Yeah, go
Anyway.
get hurt at their house so that their parents feel bad.
So Jeff walks in, sees Troy jumping on the trampoline, and calls out how this being on school property is probably a lawsuit waiting to happen. He sees it from a lawyer perspective and brings up that I can't believe Greendale would allow this to be here. And we get the introduction of Joshua, who's played by a character actor named Matt Walsh.
Now, you've not seen Veep, right? I think we talked about that.
He's a big part of Veep.
He's
Is that what it is?
so great on Veep. Yeah. I think the only person that outdoes him on Veep is Tony Hale.
Or Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
He's just as great as she's fantastic on the show, don't get me wrong.
I haven't
But,
watched
he
Veep, but
does
it's
really
definitely
well.
one of those shows I know that I like need to get to. It's not one that I should watch. It's one that I would love, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Matt Walsh is really funny in this, and I do feel like I've seen him show up in other stuff. I feel like he's one of those guys. Maybe he's been in some of Tina Fey's shows.
That sounds correct.
I just
for
feel
some
like
reason.
he's reliably funny. And you don't know his name, but you probably know his face.
Yeah.
He gathers Troy and Jeff and says that the place that nobody knows about the trampoline, and asks them if they had been seen, if they had been followed, if anybody knows they're there. And Troy has this like, if you know we're alone, are we about to die? Are you gonna stab us with your bush scissors? And I really love the instant vibe and mood change when they're in this space.
Yeah.
And you see it in Joshua, the way like Troy's like, are you gonna stab me with your scissors? And Joshua's like, oh, of course not, and puts it down really happily. And he just has this like bright exuberance that
It's such a
comes out of
tranquil
him.
place of just
That
happiness.
both comes from the tranquil place and his later reveal to be a neo-Nazi. I feel like he's
Yeah.
got some white supremacy glow going on.
He does.
He explains to them that this place is special. It's of peace and balance and nourishment, of all things. A place free from darkness, which you absolutely don't think of as anything when he says
No.
it here. But it works perfect to throw into the montage at at the end of the episode. And Troy talks about, like, all of a sudden he's sold. As soon as he says all those nice words, Troy's like, there is something really magical about being up here. And do you think that this is true of trampolining? Is it just fun, or is there a like the point of apex when you're at the top?
That's what it is for me. That's what I like. I like that moment where you're like, you are both up and down.
See, I think my experience was often you're both up and down. My experience was a lot more playing games with other people on a trampoline. So I feel like I need an experience where I can just be one with the
bounce.
trampoline.
Yeah, you need some solo time.
Take some ayahuasca and listen to Primus on some headphones.
I think taking ayahuasca anyway sounds like a terrifying experience, but then being on a
which
trampoline.
Which one's ayahuasca?
That's the one that is like the Mexican one that's like a hallucinogen, like really powerful. Like,
is it the one that only lasts like a couple minutes?
I think ayahuasca I think is longer. I think DMT is the one that's like 30 seconds.
Anyway.
What do I know?
Yeah. What do you know?
What do you know?
Do you know things? Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Troy says there's something cool about being up there and that he was just jumping, but he really felt something. Which Joshua says bouncing. Like a baby on the knee of a goddess is what it says here. Jeff goes to try it out, and this is when they get the rules of this place. And the way that the actor that plays Joshua delivers all of these lines, his demeanor, the way he takes it dead serious, but he's also peaceful and tranquil, he kills it. And I have to ask, so I think we're supposed to get some allusion to the book, movie, whatever, The Secret Garden. I've never seen or read The Secret Garden. Have you?
Nope.
I haven't. I was going to ask if there's anything in here that is
I don't know.
that, but I couldn't tell you. Write us in if it is.
Yeah, please tell us about The Secret Garden. If you could write a synopsis and a 200-word count review, I'd be thrilled.
On my desk by Monday, please.
I'll read it on the show.
The rules are that it has to say secret, because if anybody finds out about it, the place will be taken apart. And no double bouncies. They agree and they switch places, and this was one of my favorite funny moments too. Jeff bouncing, going from plain-faced to smile, and then like when he finally reaches that apex that Joshua talks about for the first time, when the camera slows down and just the serene look on Joel's face.
Right there.
Joel really kills this. And also the camera crew or the editing, however they put these shots
really nice.
together, they nailed it. Jeff says, you guys are right, and I don't mind admitting that you're right, which is something that's weird for him. He's only been on 30 seconds, and he feels so different. And then Troy really dramatically reveals that, Jeff, you've been up there for an hour. And they're all just happy and laughing and nodding. And it's really funny and sweet and wholesome and truly bizarre.
It is so weird, but I love it.
It's bizarre in a way that, Community this season has often been really bizarre, but they keep finding new ways to do it.
Yeah.
This is really weird.
It's not like out of the realm of like reality that two guys would enjoy a trampoline, but it's just no one else would do that,
Yeah. So now we're in the cafeteria. We're back to the other storyline. The girls and Abed are in the cafeteria, and they're basically just setting up Abed to keep commenting on people that he sees. Not just the mean girls now. I think it's just whoever they see. They have Abed point out their flaws, which I think makes the other girls feel better about themselves. But this is starting to get to where I don't quite buy that the girls would go along with this.
Yeah, I think that they're just picking like at every woman there, which I especially think, like you said earlier, Britta would have issue with this because Britta wants to be such a feminist, like get all the women together and like rise up type of thing. Or
if not even that, if not even like too feminist to go along with it, I just think she wouldn't care. I don't think she would get jollies out of this like the others seem to be getting.
Yeah.
I kind of buy that Annie would a little bit because she was unpopular in high school, and now she kind of gets to feel what other people put towards her. And I, like you said, I kind of get why Shirley, you know, she's always been a little gossipy, but yeah, Britta seems a little out of character here. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the negativity in this episode and the stuff that Abed calls out about people, and especially like this shot right here where he talks about like someone's belly hanging over their shorts, and then we see like an egregious, I keep using the word egregious, and I don't think I've used it right either time. This egregious shot of a woman with her belly kind of hanging out of these too small shorts, and I don't really like that the character Abed is saying stuff like this, and it's being encouraged, and I don't really like that they're having actresses do that also. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's not very nice. And like there's one thing to like, you know, poke fun and be kind of mean, but I would expect better out of Abed and Britta here, you know.
Right. And the girls are eating it up and they encourage it, and Abed even says right here like, but this is the type of stuff that I need to keep to myself, right? Like that stuff is mean. And the girls continue to encourage him. They say, oh, well, yeah, it's mean, but it's nice to hear it about certain girls because they're bitches. And those are the people you're allowed to make fun of. And Abed, this kind of starts his computer analyzation of what constitutes a bitch and what doesn't. And he kind of spirals out of that, which leads to him just being mean to everyone a little bit later on.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, not a good color on anyone, and it's not that funny either, is it?
No, it's really not. I mean, some of the digs that he did, like, earlier on were kind of funny because the people were being mean, but the ones who don't do anything, it just comes across as really, really crappy.
Yeah, but I think it reflects worse on the female characters because Abed is being encouraged, and we know that he is probably autistic and he doesn't always have a filter.
Well, and he also knows that like these are things that he thought already he wasn't supposed to be saying, but then they told him, hey, do this, we like this.
Yeah, people that he trusts to tell him what's right and what's wrong aren't being very good role models in this episode to Abed. And especially someone like Annie and Britta both. They always really take care of Abed. Mm-hmm. But now Abed is kind of let loose. He says he's going to buy them all a soda because he likes the attention he's getting and he wants it to continue. And now all of the girls are excited about Abed's presence in what they're doing because it feels like he's one of the girls. But Abed didn't go to get a soda. He's gone up to the mean girls and he's calling them out one by one. And this is when we start getting the Chang stuff. And every time when Lil and I watched this, every time we saw Chang, they would just be like, why is Chang there? Why is Chang in this? And I guess it kind of continues the thread of like he really wants in on the group and he's always trying to insert himself to it. But more than anything, it's a really egregious example of they have to put Ken Jeong in just about every episode so he can be a series regular.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, the Chang stuff. Just because it's, you know, a little extra like, ooh, bird.
It's funny, but it's so pointless.
That's fair. What's the point of anything, Zach, you know?
Wow. Nothing, I guess.
Next
I guess
week
there is
on
no
You
point to
Can't
anything.
Disappress Cass.
We replace Zach because he's dead.
Oh, no!
But we don't call attention to it. It'll be
we'll
next week.
just switch and see if people notice.
And I'm Johnny.
And I'm your host this week.
That was kind of a Conan O'Brien voice a little bit.
Yeah. If I could get Conan, that'd be great. You know what? One of the only podcasts I've ever listened to is the
Conan's
Conan
podcast.
Yeah,
it's great.
I really liked it.
I listened to it.
I haven't heard all of it, obviously, but
I'm almost caught up with it. But I
nice.
work out of my car, and sometimes I'm in my car 8 hours a day, so I'll just pick a podcast and like marathon it. But let's talk about this scene of Community. The girls are being the mean girls are being rallied on by Abed pretty hard, and the other three girls from the study group, they kind of come to Abed and they're you can tell that they're a little bit anxious about this. They think it's going to go badly. They thought it was funny when Abed was saying stuff to them, but they don't exactly think it's funny when he goes up to people and starts saying to them in person.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't last because Abed obliterates them.
Yeah, he flames all of these girls.
Yeah, he flames all the girls. Chang makes it very clear the winner of the situation. But also the mean girls are just being increasingly more mean about the other women, not just to Abed. And I think that kind of makes the study group girls be like, okay, fine, say what you want.
Yeah.
Obliterate them. And he talks about stitching in ratty panties, which made in the laundry day thing. And that's when Chang spits out his milk. It wasn't milk and cereal. He's eating like spaghetti with milk. Yes. And he's like drinking. He like spits out milk through his mouth and nose, and he laughs. And the way that Ken sells this as a accidental thing, like as it
it doesn't look like he's like spitting it out.
It doesn't at all. And it's really, really funny. And the way that he says, "Damn, that disc made me snarf, yo." On the audio commentary, they said that that's something. There are a lot of little lines from Community that became inside jokes on the set that they would just say all the time, and I guess that was one that they say it about once every half hour. Like, damn, that disc made me snarf, yo.
I like that.
And they say it like that too, like that disc made me snarf, yo. Like you've got stuff coming out of your mouth. It is he's got it dripping down his chin. It's super funny, and nobody gives it any type of attention.
No.
Nobody notices it. Nobody says anything to him at all.
This is one of my favorite disses in the whole episode. My favorite too, where the panty one. Yeah, but she's like, "You're dead," and Abed so quickly is like, "You're bow-legged. See you."
Oh, the girls are snapping. This is my favorite Britta moment here. The way that this is the first this type of weird Britta I think we've gotten. Mm-hmm. The way that she stands up on top of the table and she's like,
"This cafeteria is hereby declared a bitch-free zone."
And then she's like, oh. And they said in the commentary that she wasn't supposed to do like that dog howl thing, and they were in the writer's room watching it, and everyone was like, what is she doing? What is that? And they were all like, it's staying in.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Gillian's really, really funny when they let her be weird and funny. Mm-hmm. This scene now it's after the commercial, and it looks more green screen, but it's like a blue sky background. And first we get Jeff jumping up and out of frame on the trampoline, then we get Troy jumping up and out of frame, and it's going back, showing the oneness that they've created by trading turns on this trampoline and doing a killer. What's the word? Damn it, my brain's
egregious.
buffering. No, I don't need an adjective. They do an egregious reinterpretation of the opening theme song montage to George Lopez.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Did you like that show?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I would just wake up and it was 3 a.m. and it would be on, and it would be George Lopez's 45-year-old head on a child's body, and I would know that it's time to go back to sleep now.
Yeah. I didn't like that show at all.
It's because Steven's really racist, though.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thing. Just couldn't get past the cultural wall.
The boys are sitting on the edge of the trampoline. Josh was talking to them. They're talking about how at peace they feel, how great they feel. Josh was glad that they've seen the light, and he wasn't sure if they'd understand it, but they seem to. He says another racist line, and some are just natural jumpers. Which
I didn't catch that, but that's really funny. One.
And even they don't call it back at the end, but even before that, he kind of looks at Troy when he says some people can't. Like some people don't get it. There's another really funny moment where they have to leave, and Troy's like, we better bounce. And they start to get up, and then they're like, oh, bounce. And they start kissing each other, and then they put balls on each other's butts.
Yeah, it happens.
Meanwhile, in the hallway, this is where we meet Charisse from sociology class, and she... so Charisse told Britta that she walks like a dude, which is pretty mean rude and weird. Yeah. So, again, we're still on the trail of Abed's just going after people that have been mean, but it's a little bit different this time. This one isn't warranted. They're just like, hey...
seeking her out, yeah.
go sick on this person, and it's because of something that happened ages ago or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
But Abed comes up with something, like you mentioned, has something to say about those jeans. And Abed he's like, you guys are sure that it's okay that I do this? And it's a little bit sad that his friends are disrespecting him like this. And I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah, and they say to him, it isn't that bad when you're doing it to bad girls. But, like, they're bad.
Yes. But they all keep encouraging him. Abed says, like, RoboCop, and then Britta says exactly like Rowboat Cop.
That's a funny one. That's a good Britta line. Sink her. That woman is a bad robot.
Abed goes and attacks, and this is the first time that we see his screen. We see on this one, it gives a current synopsis, and it's a synopsis of the episode. It says, Britta, Shirley, and Annie make Abed into one of the girls with 0 repercussions. Jeff, Pierce, and Troy learn a lesson about either basketball or remote toys.
Because that's as far as he knows, which I love.
Charisse has got an 80% bitch rating. She's got out-of-style jeans, off-brand backpack, and split ends. And then memos. These are things from future episodes. Record Cougar Town, because this season Abed gets like an obsession with the show Cougar Town, and also Troy's birthday in 14 days.
Which I love. He also has Annie's cycle projected.
Which is another thing from next week's episode, because everyone's getting upset about the pen, and it's revealed that Abed has like this notebook where he tracks all the girls' menstrual cycles, and he's like, I knew you guys were all going to act up today, like this.
Oh no, I forgot about that.
So yeah, Abed shows up, and you're right, says, you look like a dude in those jeans. And the woman just cowers and holds her book close to herself and covers her mouth.
Because she's probably like, why is this stranger man coming up to me and saying I look like a dude?
I like the way that Abed's just like, they're bad. But this plot line is bad. Don't you think?
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up under scrutiny. When you watch it, you can kind of get into it a little bit, but it does not work, and it's just a bad shade of all of these characters, and the worst thing is that they don't do anything with it.
No.
They don't really learn a lesson at the end, and really the person who gets negative attention is Abed. The girls don't really get called out for how
they don't
took
suffer any
advantage of
consequences
Abed.
from this.
Yeah, and that would have maybe brought it around. You can have your characters do bad stuff like this if it's for a purpose, or if it's funny, and this isn't either for me.
I see what you're saying. Definitely seeing that.
But the trampoline plot line is both a real standout in the episode and definitely couldn't carry itself on its own as a plot line for an episode. So this episode's really disjointed and uneven, and it's like 1/3 great episode and 2/3 okay episode for me.
I get that. I think I really, really like the trampoline plot, and I don't like that there are no consequences for the girls in this one. Because like you said, it all falls on
character
Abed.
work for the girls.
Yeah. They all have moved backwards, and that's what you don't like to see. Like, they've stopped doing that with Jeff. Jeff now is such a better person, better character.
He's can't remember the last time. It was like the
season
lawyer episode, the first couple episodes of the season when Jeff was being weird to Britta, and then Jeff was being kind of an asshole with Alan. But I think in those situations, we were being like, this is bad, but I can kind of see where it's coming from. And now it's been a solid since
then, like since the first 2 or 3 episodes, Jeff has been like
been on a
awesome.
Roll. Yeah. The girls all give Abed a reassuring thumbs up, which again is just sad. I hate that they're doing this. But now we get to go back to the other plot line. Troy and Jeff walk into the study room to Pierce, who's continuing his thread. He is putting on some basketball clothes, and he's ready to shoot the rock after studying. And just like they were, it's so silly with something like basketball, but just the same way they were over RC cars, now they're like, oh, we're kind of over basketball.
It's like that. I don't want. It's that meme where they're dropping Woody. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Pierce got one of his classic lines is I'm gonna slit your butt's throat.
Yeah.
Just totally proving the butt thing. He throws the ball and they miss it, and Pierce is like, nice catch, losers, go get it. But then he feels bad because the other guys don't want to hang out with them. They're not into basketball. And I love through this scene that they're in the study room and Troy and Jeff just have this like cult glow about them that's really funny, and that Pierce totally picks up on. He's like, what's up with you guys? Why are you guys acting like that? Jeff sits right comfortably and shows that he's wearing Uggs now. And Pierce, gay boots, lady boots, gay wad. But I love more the interaction where Troy's like, do you like those shoes? And Jeff's like, oh, they're the best.
Yeah, he's
and then Jeff's like, but I'm sure your shoes are fine too. And I love Troy's, you know what? And then big smile. They are. It's a really funny moment. And Pierce is just like, are you guys on weed?
He said, I'll smoke you two under the table.
They mentioned this on the commentary too. It's just like Pierce will do anything. He just wants to be included.
Yeah.
It's like, are we doing drugs? Give me some. Are we playing basketball? I'm in. And no matter what, he's shot down. The girls and Abed come into the room. The girls are feeling really high and mighty. They feel like they're doing the campus a favor by like bringing all of the bitches down a notch.
Yeah.
And they could have easily done a couple of things to make the storyline more satisfying. Like if they talked a little bit about how, or showed that like none of these three women were popular girls in high school, so they're really getting off on being able to do something like this.
Yeah.
You kind of get why. I don't know. It's just very, very, very surface level for a show that usually you can see the characters' motives.
There's a little bit of something behind it, yeah.
Sure. Shirley wants Abed to come to the bank with her just so they can talk bad about someone. And then the guys are just like, yo, take it easy, man. But then now the girls are on a power trip, so now they want to point Abed towards Jeff.
Yeah.
And Abed tries to. He makes a comment about Jeff's shoes because he thinks Jeff's a bitch now. And Jeff just totally takes it. He's got no problem. Shirley does her dance again. And then we get a shot of Chang, who's right outside the study room doors, eating ice cream and still reacting to these burns. And I like, again, they don't call any attention to him. They don't say anything.
No, even serene,
up,
calm Jeff.
Yeah, shuts the door and says, let's all take a deep breath and find some center. And Pierce can't take it. He has to know what the guys are hiding from him. He feels so left out. And Pierce feeling left out of the study group to the point where he becomes the villain of the study group is a big theme in season 2.
Yeah,
We've kind of seen it a couple of times before this. And the end of this episode does something that's a big push in that direction. And it's interesting to see how they're, as difficult as it is to write stuff for Chevy, I'm sure, how they're building up this nice little arc for him. Of him, like with the oldsters, the hipsters in the other episode.
Yeah.
With him, like, he really wants to be a part, and he's got his issues, but he really just wants to be a part, and he's turned down every time he tries, no matter who he's trying to, and it's going to drive him away. And it leads to a pill addiction, which is what we're getting towards, which will be interesting to track the storyline as it becomes bigger and sillier. Pierce says, tell me how to get laid. What? Tell me how to get laid back or I'll kill your families. They told a story on the commentary about how Chevy really didn't want to say that line because on his way to work that day, he heard like a news report of someone's family getting killed. And he was like, if I say that, people are going to think I'm making a comment on that and it's not going to be taken very well. And
Chevy, it's not live.
Donald was like, what Chevy doesn't understand is that stuff like that happens like a lot, so it doesn't matter. Just say the joke.
That's funny.
Britta gets the girls and Abed to leave because they're bored with this situation. They want to go back to making people feel bad about themselves. And then Pierce says to the boys, I'm watching you, 24, 2010, the year that it is.
He's trying.
He strolls out. He
These
does
balls.
the like I'm watching you hand like pointing at his eyes and pointing at them, but he says these balls on your butts. Really, really funny. Choi and Jeff now they're like, okay, now we can leave. We can go bounce before lunch. And bouncing before lunch is like the camaraderie between two stoner do-nothings that are like,
let's go have a quick little bounce or
let's go take a bounce before lunch. It's like going on a walk at the family cookout or something like that, you know. Troy says, okay, fine, let's just make sure that Pierce isn't hovering around, which he appears not to be. But of course, the dragon flyer that we've set up earlier in the episode is going to be following Jeff and Troy to see what they've been up to. It's driving Pierce crazy, and he's got to see what they're doing. It's a really dramatic tracking shot of the dragon flyer following after them. Troy and I always want to say Troy and Abed. Jeff and Abed escort each other underneath the hedge to get to the secret area, and Pierce.
Excuse me, sir. It's not Jeff and Abed either.
Egregiously.
How egregious of you!
So Pierce has been following them and gets the video, but can't see it yet because I like how, the show understands that there's another step. He's got to get the video footage and watch it. And we see him and Leonard in the library on a computer, and they've got that classic CSI thing where they're enhance the picture, enhance the picture, enhance the picture, and they have this magic CSI software that makes
that can enhance pictures,
photo in 1080p. And you think they're blowing up the picture, what happens, but they're not. They're blowing up the instructions of how to do it, of how to get the footage. And it's super funny. This is a really funny moment. How to download photos from your spy camera.
There it is, Pierce says.
It's one of those great misleading community jokes. I love it. In the cafeteria, now the girls get to be mean to some other girls for them being in their seats, and they're not willing to get up, so they sick Abed on them. But now they're starting to do it too.
Yeah.
The girls are also starting to throw these negative quips at each other, and look at Britta's face, how she's just really eating it up. The girls are just backing her up, and they get people to leave, and they don't see at all that they're doing the thing that started the thing that they're doing. And Abed, as always, is still questioning it, doesn't know what's going on, but he kind of puts together that, no, they're being bitches. Here we get some more computer vision. We see get Rudolph for Christmas, confirm Mom for Christmas, so the Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, and make blanket for it.
You've got Shirley's cyclone. Also, the synopsis has changed.
Britta, Shirley, and Annie make Abed into one of the girls, which backfires. Jeff and Troy discover a relaxation secret, confuses and frustrates Pierce. Yeah, you're right. It does change. And now he sees that the girls that he's been trusting are bitches, so he starts making fun of them. He tells that Annie snorts like a piglet. That's what I didn't get on your trivia question. He tells Britta to be careful with her skin, that her face is puffy and her eyes look like buttons. And then tells Shirley, and I think this is really the line.
Yeah.
Not just Abed, but they shouldn't have written this about the main actor on their show. I'm sure this hurt Yvette's feelings.
Yeah.
And you have to act it.
Yeah. I didn't like this. This was not the one that I was like, did they just say that? But this one was not good.
Comments on Shirley's weight. Yeah, it's not like you can't get away with that. It's just that's in bad taste.
Yeah, especially for I don't know. I feel like Shirley's weight is not something that has come up on the show before. It's not something she's talked about or that has been a joke. So I think that's kind of shitty.
So I guess we're wrong that the girls don't get any type of punishment because that's kind of what's going on here. Abed's classified them as bitches and starts hammering on them, and they can't handle it, and they don't feel so good anymore. They say they were just joking, and if that makes us bitches, we're all bitches. Yeah, they don't learn anything at all. They just push the problem away from themselves and say another thing that screws up Abed. So now he just thinks everyone is a bitch. So Abed now goes insane and just starts pointing at everyone he comes up to, saying something that's wrong with them. We get more of these computer shots. I haven't been stopping each of them. But it's just this, Abed just pointing, bitch, you're a bitch,
triple
I'm a
bitch,
you're a bitch, triple bitch. Not crazy about that either. Not crazy about it.
Yeah, I the only thing I literally liked, I thought it was funny when he was like, bitch, triple bitch, I'm a bitch, you're a bitch. That made me laugh just because his delivery was funny. Yeah.
You're all bitches, triple bitches, bitch, hey bitch, you bitch, I'm a bitch.
But, yeah.
And I do, so they are really disjointed storylines, but they do kind of mimic here the anti-tranquility going on with the girls when they try to go off and do something, mixed with the tranquility that the guys are finding
when
as
it's
they
just
go off
them,
to do something. They're both just laying on the trampoline, completely at zen. It looks like they took a nap together. They're just comfortable together. But Pierce appears through the bushes, and it looks really, really silly with the saturated lights on him. And he startles the guys out of their tranquility and, totally ruins it, which is awful. It's like walking up to someone who's on acid and being like, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, that describes Pierce be entering a tranquil environment for sure.
Yeah. Like a horse in the hospital situation.
Okay, what is that meme? I saw a picture of a horse leaving a hospital, and I didn't get the meme joke.
I don't know if it's just this, but John Mulaney has a bit in one of his stand-ups where he doesn't talk about politics, and he talks about how he doesn't talk about politics, but he likens Donald Trump being the president to there being a horse in the hospital.
That's hilarious.
And how there are, like, people who are like, oh, but look at what the horse is doing, or like, oh, look at the points that the horse is making.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should hear out the horse. And then John's like, yes, but there's a horse in the hospital.
That's really funny.
And that's what I assume that meme is. But yeah, Pierce is the horse in this hospital.
Yes, he is.
Dragonfly or Bioch.
Bioch.
So this is the secret. You two sneak out here and hang out on the big gay trampoline. And you know what? I think for once Pierce might be right, and trampolines might be a little gay.
Are they? I don't know. I think that a trampoline is for everyone.
Well, just because things are gay doesn't mean they're not for everyone.
That's fair.
Look at
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, look at Ellen DeGeneres before last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at, I don't know, who else are the one of like five? Billy Eichner. Everyone likes Billy Eichner.
Everyone likes Billy Eichner. Luther Vandross. Everybody likes Luther.
I didn't know he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And trampolines.
One
of the many, and Stephen Baker. One of the many homosexual things that can be enjoyed by all.
You'd think that, but that's really underplaying it. I think what's the dean say? That's oversimplifying it.
Yeah, that's rude and not the complete truth or something like that. But Pierce calls them out, and Pierce wants to call them out and to find them and to prove that they've been hiding something. But I feel like he's like, what do I do? He just swings his arms. I feel like now he's like, you guys want to jump?
Yeah.
And Jeff tries to say, this is a place of peace, and you've ruined it. And Pierce does. He says, now it's mine too. And he walks over to hop himself up on the trampoline. And look at these shots. This is where you can see here, Chevy's jumping a little bit. He's jumping himself, but now that you see the behind shot, you can tell he's barely bouncing.
Yeah.
They have this one shot of him jumping, and then it's someone doing their arms all wild, and I don't think it's Chevy.
No.
But he demands that they double bounce him, which of course is one of the golden rules of the place. They're not supposed to double bounce. But if they don't double bounce him, he's going to tell everyone about the trampoline, which is also one of the rules. So they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. And I think they would rather double bounce someone.
Yeah,
than
they
have
made
their
the right
place be
decision.
found. Yeah. So they do, and Jeff's about to do it, but Troy has a sacrificial.
Well, I thought
Troy
Jeff was about to go grab the
sacrificial moment. What?
Jeff was about to go grab the shears and kill him. That's what because they showed the shears.
They were gonna kill Pierce, or they were gonna kill the trampoline.
Pierce, because he was gonna expose the trampoline. So Jeff, because they showed the shears, and then Jeff starts to walk towards them.
That's
the other
funny.
way. Yeah.
God is my witness. I will tweet it. That's me when any local business treats me wrong. These fries are lukewarm.
How dare you?
I will tweet it.
I am never coming back to this establishment.
Troy hops up on the trampoline, and it gives us an excuse for a great Donald Glover cry.
Yeah.
As he's forcibly double bouncing Pierce. Look here. Look at how the camera moves when Troy is bouncing to when Pierce is bouncing.
Yeah.
It's wilder movements that I feel signify more movement than what's actually happening.
Yeah, way much more. Oh, boy.
But the funniest visual of the whole episode, and I have no idea how they would have shot this, but Pierce gets that glorious double bouncy that he wanted so bad, and he shoots up to the heavens, and he gets the biggest tranquil apex moment of any, and says, Father, which doesn't quite make sense to me because
his
Pierce's
dad is alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not close.
Exactly.
and then it zooms down to Troy and Jeff. It's a really impressive shot, and I'm not sure how they managed to do this. But then we hear Pierce scream, and we go back to like outside the secret entrance to the garden, and he falls into a trash can and hits his head on it and breaks his legs.
I love the way they had like him fall, like crash into like the bush and then like flip down like with even more force
and
into the
dumpster. Immediately he starts yelling, "Secret trampoline! They have an illegal trampoline back there." It was his fault what happened.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have double bounced. They should have just said what happened. They should have, I don't know. Pierce was going to screw him over no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Now we're in the cafeteria. We're getting towards the end of this subplot. Abed is still broken and just making fun of everyone he's seeing. And Abed, I'm not saying that Abed shouldn't have been looked negatively on in this episode. It's just that the girls should have too, and they weren't. Because Abed here, he's now the bitch more than anyone else is, and he doesn't see it. He still is like calling out other people that are bitches.
Yeah.
This is what all the bitch stuff, all the bitch talk is another one of those storylines that just feels a little bit silly to dive this deep into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Sure, there's some subtext, but there isn't like there should be. Abed's still making fun of everyone. He's walking through the cafeteria. Someone says to him, "You're just mean," which he is. Mm-hmm. And then he sits down for his lunch, which is an apple juice and a banana. And I like this line. He stabs the juice box and says, "Nice. Who taught you how to be a juice box?" That was a random little thing. And then he notices that physically everyone in the cafeteria is distanced from him and looking at him. And he's confused by it. He doesn't know why it's happening.
Yeah.
Now we're in the library set, and Abed confronts Megan to, I guess, talk about what's going on. He comes in peace. Troy, I always say the character name. Donald Glover on the audio commentary said that this library set, that the crew and set dressers, they stuff it all with like these out of touch like 50s racist like the modern Negro in America type books and like hilarious. how to be a black person in society, like books like that are real that they just stash this set with, and they all like play around and look at them when they're
I'd believe that Greendale would have those books there.
Yeah, well, because they don't have money to spend on
No,
books.
they get whatever they can.
They're spending it all on dances and paintball games.
Yeah.
Abed says he comes in peace to Megan and compliments her kind of, but it's a super backwards compliment. And he wants to restore the natural order. He gives a stack of cards with a bunch of insults to other people, I think. Mm-hmm. And then we cut away from that for a second. We're not sure exactly where that's going, but we cut to the trampoline being demolished. And it's a guy with a chainsaw taking down the trampoline, and the guy next to him has a blowtorch. And he says, "Get the blowtorch over here." It's such a very Greendale way of doing this.
Dismantling a trampoline. Even Jeff said, "Well, that's a little excessive." Yeah,
they're lamenting their loss, and they find Joshua, who has, of course, been fired because of the secret trampoline he was hiding. And they feel bad. They feel like this nice, kind man that had this oasis now lost his job because of them. The other shoe drops when Joshua says, well, and he says it just as kindly and plainly as he said anything else in the entire episode. He's like, well, it's my own fault. Guess it's what I get for trusting some black guy. And at first they laugh, and then they're both, what? Troy's, what? And it's clear that Joshua is not just a serene guy. He's a weird, extreme racist.
Yeah.
And we leave Joshua with that. He thinks that non-whites ruin everything, when it's very much the opposite of that fact.
Right.
And Troy has a moment where he's like, oh my God, he was super racist, and we didn't even know. It came out of nowhere. But Jeff says, did it? And we see a really great brief montage of him saying, a place free from darkness. Some people are just natural jumpers, which is awful. And then the extra shot of, it's going to be a maze, while he has a huge swastika tattoo on his chest. The guy who played Joshua, improvised it's going to be a maze.
Really?
I guess they threw around a bunch of different lines of what it could be.
That's funny.
And one of them was like, oh, this is U2's original logo. Like just different shit like that. But I think the maze thing is really funny. Mm-hmm. So they've realized that this place of tranquility that they've built, much like America is realizing, this place of tranquility that we've built was built on white supremacy and racism the entire time. So if by enjoying the tranquility were you by proxy a racist white supremacist, they're learning that just like we're all learning. Not
and
saying
they did
that
it
I think
11
the
years
Trump
ago.
administration was an oasis. The idea of America is an oasis.
Yeah.
But it was definitely built on white supremacy and racism, and it continues to be. Just like this trampoline. What were you about to say?
Oh, that they were making this discovery about 11 years before the United States seemed to realize it.
Oh, I think we've probably got another 11 years at least to go before.
That's true. We did have like a pseudo coup like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. When we recorded that week with your mom, and we were coming in like excited and energized to start the year of the podcast. We've got all these big plans. And now, especially after January 20th, I feel a lot more energized.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just like right away, everything was killed because white trash idiots
because
tried
the
to
Duck
overthrow
Dynasty
the goddamn
guys
government.
decided to...
And then did you see some of the videos that were taken from inside the Capitol where they were just idiots while they were inside? They were talking, they've gotten to the Capitol and they were like twiddle-dicking around, and they were like, well, I guess we should vote on something now.
Yeah.
Like shit like that. And it's like, what? So you're going to try to overthrow the government, but your plan stops at let's get inside the building.
It's literally that Plankton meme where he's like, well, I didn't think I'd get this far.
And then they were like on Ted Cruz's desk, and they were looking at this paper that he had, and they were like, overthrow the results in Arizona. What? That's a bad thing. We hate Ted Cruz now. How could he? Then Walt was like, no, that's a good thing. That's what we want him to do. Like, oh, yeah, Ted's with us. Ted's a good guy. Every single one of them a true Joshua.
Yeah.
Of the
right?
tallest degree. Jeff and Troy are having that realization. Troy says maybe that it was always there, and we just didn't want to see it. And maybe that's what the lesson is here. Purity that demands exclusion isn't real purity. Wow,
that's a
what
pretty
an
great line.
unexpected
Yeah,
truth bomb. Maybe paradise is a lie. But this moment that they have, this kind of profound, doesn't get much time to land because Pierce shows up. Both of his legs are broken. They talk a lot already about how much Chevy hated having to be dressed up like this. And I guess they would like say things about his feet, and they'd be like, you have weird feet, Chevy. And he'd be like, stop talking about my feet. But then he had to wear this for like 10 episodes.
They do really come to a point, don't they? It's like triangle toes.
Very blocky. Mm-hmm. And Pierce says paradise exists right here as he's like all up in a wheelchair, and he puts his hand on his heart. And they agree with him. And Jeff offers to buy Troy some ice cream because his white guilt is doing somersaults. Worth it. Pierce gives a thumbs up and takes this pill, and we're foreshadowing that he's going to have a problem with this.
Yeah, because
he takes it and says paradise.
Yeah. It's like, that's what I meant all along, was the drugs.
So now I see what's happening. Obviously, this is what happened. Abed gave Megan a bunch of mean things about him, which is sad and sweet that Abed would do this. Now that he's able to see how far he went, he wants to turn it around. And Megan says a bunch of really nice things to Abed. Abed doesn't really take any of it to heart because he expected all to happen. Chang's ready for another round. Chang's like Wilmer Valderrama on Yo Mama.
Cash money.
Oh my god.
Yo mama. This was the one that I thought was not funny at all. That his mom was a lizard.
Your mom
was a lizard who got raped by a Muppet.
Who got raped by a Muppet.
Like, what the
Yeah, if your joke has the word rape in it, you should probably reconsider the joke.
Yeah.
and stay the away from the Muppets.
Yeah.
If anything in this godforsaken piece of shit world that we live in today is sacred, it's the Muppets.
It's the Muppets.
Sorry. That is a pretty far thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Chang gets all up in Abed's face. He's always there to make it clear who's winning the showdown that's going on. And Abed doesn't say anything. Megan says, too hurt to respond. That's right, you don't have feelings. I thought it was a nice acting moment, the way that Hilary Duff puts her finger on her nose.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little character moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then Megan says, we all feel bad, so we act like bitches to make ourselves feel better. But you just did it to fit in. And no matter how hard you try, you never will. Which cuts really hard as someone saying it to Abed, but there's this whole other layer that this is what Abed thinks of himself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of relatable and sad. And yeah, this moment, the way it ends with Abed, I guess it works maybe a little bit better than I thought it did, but not enough to justify the storyline, I don't think.
Well, I think Abed gets resolution here, but the
girls don't.
No. They're still
and even
shitty.
Abed's resolution is... It works, but it's kind of like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
Let's just get this problem done. The crowd murmurs and reacts. Chang's really excited, building up the crowd, and they're ready for Abed to nail in on them. But he's able to turn that off and put it aside. And then there's just the absolute ridiculous shot of Chang so worked up that he flips over one of the tables that, as you can see in the other tables, the tables are connected to the benches. So there's no... So he's like... Jet fuel can't melt steel beams, but apparently Chang can with his bare hands.
Yeah, he can. That's El Tigre.
He flips it over while Megan and Abed have a moment, and Megan has this weird thank you moment that I don't think is completely necessary. I think they did what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. And it also snaps the girls out of everything, but they don't self-reflect at all. They say, wow, Abed, that was rough. Abed says, I shouldn't have been mean to anybody. I tried to fit in. I took it too far. Oh, I guess they do say it. Whatever. Mm-hmm. They say, we took it too far. We became the kind of women that we hate, and we turned you into a monster, the kind of monster that makes outlandish statements about weight. Those things kind of hurt even when they're not true, Shirley says. What it is, though, yes, they say something, but there's no, like, self-reflection throughout the episode. It's like their end-of-episode monologue that the writers wrote to end the storyline with a neat bow.
Well, and it still sounds like they're, like, talking to Abed, like, Abed, you messed up, but you learned your lesson. It's like...
Yeah. And they talk about how everyone's insecure. Even Tom Cruise knows he's short and nuts. And we're at the mercy of each other, which is really, really true. I think we are all both... And I know some people struggle with it more than others, but I think we're all very much in our head about ourselves and very much in our head about what other people see onto us. But if we all understood a little bit better that everyone's really in their head about themselves, I think we'd not feel so worried about what other people think, and I think we'd maybe feel a little bit better about ourselves in turn. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, I think so. I think...
Do you ever feel bad about yourself, Steven? Do you ever feel human emotion?
Do you ever get sad sometimes? I mean, there's that brilliant episode of BoJack Horseman where you hear his thoughts inside his head, and he's just constantly taking himself down.
Calling himself a stupid piece of shit.
Yeah. And we watched that episode together, I remember.
I do too.
Yeah, but like, maybe not everybody is as internally self-loathing as BoJack Horseman, but I think we all have stuff, like insecurities and things like that, and it really hurts when people bring some of those out sometimes, but if we all were a little more sensitive to that, I think we'd all be a little nicer, like you were saying. There's
nothing worse than you've got this thing about yourself built up in your head, and then when someone, you kind of both build it up in your head and get yourself to a point where, like, that's just got to be in my head. But when someone gives weight to that, when someone says it, when someone brings attention to it, it's heartbreaking. And Abed definitely did this here, but the girls did too, and it wouldn't have taken much more for this to be an earned moment, and instead it feels much like the beginning of the episode felt like a sitcom setup. This ending feels like a sitcom ending where they just need to wrap it up for next week. But they all forgive each other, they all hug, as Jeff and Troy Whelan Pierce and they don't really care that much what happened to Pierce. They're just like, Annie says men. I don't know what they were doing. Yeah, and Pierce is still flying around his dragon flyer, and we didn't comment on it earlier when he says there's a little man controlling it. And we get here that Pierce actually believes and sees that there is a little man inside of his dragon flyer, played by Andy Dick, who is talking to Pierce, telling him things, telling him what to do, telling him what to think, and telling him that it's okay to take more of his pain pills, and don't let anybody tell you different. So Pierce pops another pill as literally the dragon flyer just flies off and away, and he puts the remote down. Jeff asks who's going to be in charge of making sure Pierce doesn't OD, and they all do like, not it. When do we start doing that? And that's the end of the episode before the end tag. What a weird last button on the episode.
It is a weird last. This episode was weird.
It sets up things well. It sets up things well for the Pierce storyline ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a disjointed episode that starts weird, it ends weird, and both of the stories, even the one that works better, are weird.
Yeah, like this episode's like a 6 out of 10 for me.
I agree. And 6 out of 10 is about as low as Community really ever gets. I don't maybe a couple times it'll reach a 5, but I think it's usually a 7 at least.
Yeah, normally.
And the end tag is great, which is really nice. The episode doesn't totally end with a foul taste in your mouth because we get Troy and Abed in the morning. Have you seen all the memes people are editing of Bernie Sanders from the inauguration, like sitting in
with his little
situations?
Mittens? Yeah.
There was one where he was on Troy and Abed in the morning that I saw.
Oh, that's really cute.
And there was also a really good one where he was at the study room table. And there was also a really good one where he was Pierce in the car with the hipsters.
Oh, that'd be cool. That's cute.
So it's Troy and Abed in the morning. You've got the people holding signs in the background. They've all got microphones on, even though nobody's recording anything.
Yeah.
And Starburns is their guest. He's holding a turtle. And Troy and Abed build up this thing as if, like, Starburns is going to do, like, silly pet tricks, that he's, like, their pet expert. Because, you know, back in the day, all of the late-night shows would have, like, stupid animal tricks.
Yeah.
They would have, like... Did you ever watch much of David Letterman?
I watched David Letterman. I watched. I used to watch the Today Show a lot. I know that's the daytime one, but I watched a lot of like the Daily Show, stuff like that.
Letterman would always have Jack Hanna on, who was like an animal guy, and this feels like Troy and Abed just having a list of things that they do on shows like that and checking them off the list. They call him Starburns, and I love the Starburns. It's Alex. Starburns joins us and his pet turtle, Shelly. And Starburns makes it clear that they just... they ask that we understand that Shelly can eat over 5 mice a day. And Starburns says that's... turtles don't eat mice. And then makes it clear that Troy and Abed handed him this turtle, sat him down, put the microphone on him, and hoped that he would be an animal expert. And Troy and Abed are like, this is disappointing, as they drink out of their mug. It's really funny. It's a good end tag. It's a good laugh
it's a funny
at the
one.
end of an episode that is disjointed. It's good to have this. There's the good what folks at home at the end here that's funny.
And the fact that, you know, we didn't really get any Troy and Abed together in this episode, it's nice to get it at the end.
To end it, sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Garrett with a check on the weather.
It's still sunny.
that was a really good Garrett Weatherman impression.
A little too low-pitched, I think, but I did my best. And that's how the episode ends. And it's uneven. I think we agree. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Not bad.
This was kind of like Messianic Myths and Ancient Peoples, where I went into it remembering it as one that I didn't like the best. Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. Not like I was pleasantly surprised by Messianic Myths.
No.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. And what I do hate is that I find myself often wishing that there were more regular school-based episodes of Community, that there was more of an even out in later seasons between stuff going on at school and like the big homage episodes. It seems like they really go heavy with the homage.
Yeah.
But when they turn out a regular school episode, a lot of times it turns out like this, where it's a little disjointed. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they had some really, really good regular school episodes in season 1, but there are also a few that are just okay.
Yeah. But stepping away from that, I don't want to be too negative because I do like a lot of things about this episode. And I think I'll open it up with my MVP, I think, could go to Troy or to Pierce. But I think I'm going to give it to Pierce.
Okay.
Just because, and really, I kind of had to stretch for an MVP in this episode. I just give it to him because I like what they do with his character in this episode. He makes me laugh quite a bit in this episode, and they're setting stuff up well with him. So I'll give it to Pierce, kind of by default, honestly.
Yeah.
What about you?
My honorable mentions go to Troy and Jeff because I thought they both were fantastic in this one. They were funny. I liked them both a lot. Yeah. But I actually gave my MVP to Abed in this one. I know that he's not his best self, but I think that he is undeniably Abed in this episode and kind of realizes, okay, that's not what to do.
Sure.
And he does fix it all in the end, so
I can't give it to Abed just because Abed is the character on the show that there's so many things that are so Abed, that are so unique to Community, that make Community what it is that I love. And there are just as many things sometimes that they do with Abed that I don't like and I don't gel with so much. Something that comes to mind. Oh, I just lost it. I love that we end our show saying from inside the Dreamatorium, but the episodes in season 3 that really dive into Abed's head and like he's in the Dreamatorium and there's like 8 Abeds, sometimes they take his character in directions
too much.
Are a little too weird for me, and this is kind of one of those, so I couldn't give it to him for that. But I understand why you would. I think Danny said it was hers as well. Well, but that's wrapping things up. What's the week ahead look for you? What are you looking forward to in the near future?
Honestly, right now there's like so on the anime front.
Sure.
There's a lot of this season of shows is basically a bunch of shows like coming back for another season. Sure. So second season, a bunch of shows is going right now and really, really, really good on a couple of them. I'm excited. We have something in the works that we're recording soon that I think is going to be super duper fun.
You and me?
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah. We're going to be guests somewhere.
Oh! Actually, it's a big deal. We're going to be guests on an episode of 6 Seasons in a Podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
When we started this community podcast, all I knew about the network of community podcasting was that there was 6 seasons in a podcast.
Yep.
And that it wasn't a episode-by-episode podcast. It was more of an interview podcast, so that meant we could do an episode-by-episode podcast. Then, of course, we started one, and we met all the other ones.
Yeah.
But much like talking to people from Community feels like an ultimate acceptance, so does being invited on 6 Seasons in a Podcast.
Yeah, it does.
Like everyone but Chevy and Donald of the main characters, I believe. Maybe not. But he's had Yvette, he's had Ken, he's had Joel, he's had
Allison,
he's had a lot of the side characters. He's had Jim Rash, and he wants to have a conversation with us about our little show that we do. And I think that's really fun. It'll open more ears to us. That's exciting. So keep your eye out. He's doing a lot of cool stuff right now. He's going to have a whole batch of new episodes. So keep your eye on things over at 6 Seasons in a Podcast. And keep your eye on things here. Our Patreon launches Monday, February 1st. Please consider supporting us.
Whoop, whoop.
I really, really want to. It'll help us be able to devote more time into making the show, and it'll help us make it sound better. I think it can still sound better, and I think it'd be the best for everyone if it sounded a little better. So chip in a few bucks. Steven's got to eat, right?
Exactly.
He spends all his money on anime boxes, so
I do. So please.
So we gotta feed him too. I promise you, I will make sure none of the money that you pledge to us goes to stuff like that. It's for the show.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. This has been fun. I hope you guys keep on board with
Excuse me.
us. Yeah.
You're forgetting something very important.
Well, I'm still going to talk about like our social media and sending is that what you're saying?
No.
What are you saying?
You need to read the next tier for the Patreon, Zach.
You are the best, buddy. You're so right, Steven. Thanks for pointing out my egregious mistake. We still need to discuss the last tiers that will be available for our Patreon plan. So we've talked about $5 and $10 a month. You know, those are the more base level, more affordable, and absolutely just as much we want you to join those tiers. If all we get are $5 and $10 patrons, that will be great. But there are 2 higher options that will really help us like go towards things like buying sound paneling, buying new microphones, buying new headphones, maybe buying ads for the podcast, other places. This is if you really, really want to help us, and also if you really want to be involved with the show. Both of these tiers will get all of the things from the $5 and $10 tiers. So to quickly go through those, it's access to all our premium access to all our premium patron podcasts. Like we'll both have multiple projects, and I've just finished wrapping the first episode of Nerdstalgia, which will be out on the first day of the Patreon. You'll get early access to You Can't Disappoint a Podcast when available. You'll get access to Patreon exclusive game nights and other live stream events, access to the weekly You Can't Dis a Pre-Show live pre-podcast, access to monthly patron-only Zach and Steven Zoom chats. You'll get a weekly shout-out on You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. You'll get a handwritten community postcard upon signing up for Patreon. And then now, these are the big things. For the $25 per month, the Level 4 Laser Lotus, we call it, for $25 a month, on top of all those other things,
Laser
you're going to
Lotus.
get not what?
Oh, I was hyping. I was ad-libbing
Thanks.
for you. Laser
I like
Lotus.
I forgot you do the sound effects. Like in the other tiers, but more so with the $25 a month tier, you're not going to get 1, you're not going to get 2, you're going to get 5 entries into all future giveaways. And you can still go enter it all the normal ways to get however many entries that may be. So that would be
at
great
least
if you
like
want to win some community
8.
stuff. We'll do a giveaway at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
So you'll get entries into that. Also, for the $25 a month option, and this is exciting, if you are a $25 a month patron, you will get to guest host an episode of You Can't Dis a Pre-Show with Steven and myself.
Woo! That's a pretty exciting thing to be able to do.
Yes. Now, if you are a recurring $25 patron, we will do our best to have you guest host many times, but the $25 per month will be at least one per patron, a guest host episode of You Can't Dis a Pre-Show with us, and we'll totally show you how the sausage gets made. We'll bring you in for discussions on what you want to do, and you'll be a host with us. If you've always wanted to banter with us, if you've always wanted to tell us what you hate about us, it'll be great. Just give us money.
This is your chance.
Other thing the $25 patron gets that nobody else gets, the $10 per month patrons get shouted out. $10 and up gets shouted out weekly on the show. But for $25 a month, you can get 2 extended, brought to you by shout-outs or ads in 2 episodes of our podcast per month. So if you have a podcast or project that you'd like us to promote, a YouTube channel, a local business, or if you just want to be just such a savior of our show that we'll give you a 30-second shout-out just to you as a person, talk about how much we love you, that'll be the $25 a month per month patrons. You'll get 2 of those every month. Whatever you'd like us to push, we'll push it. We can be bought.
Yeah, can and will. Hopefully.
Then moving up, there's one more patron. This is the high-level tier to the true super fans and super friends of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. Our $50 per month tier, the 5 Meow Meow Beans tier, because you'll certainly get 5 Meow Meow Beans from Steven and myself.
Meow, meow, meow. Count them.
It gets
5
all
meows.
of those things that we've mentioned already. So you get all of the $5 and $10 stuff. You get the premium podcasts, the live streams, the postcard, the patron Zoom chats, the weekly shout out, the 2 brought to you by ads. You get to guest host You Can't Dis a Pre-Show, and then you get 2 other things with the $50 option. You can make Steven and I review any episode of television or movie, community or otherwise, and we'll record a full premium podcast on it, complete You Can't Disappoint a Podcast style, with trivia and with MVP and with the coverage that we do on all of the stuff that we do for community. You can make us watch anything. And we'll do it and talk about it. And also the $50 per month patrons will get a one-on-one Zoom chat or game night with Steven and I, where much like the $10 patrons will get a group hangout. We can just hang out. If you want to chat with us, if you want to play games with us, if you want to hang out, if you want to help us feel less lonely, the $50 per month patron will get those things. And that's our Patreon program. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm super hyped. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. I've had so much fun doing the free pre-shows, and I know we're going to be able to do so much more amazing stuff for you guys once the Patreon gets started. More giveaways, more excitement.
So next week is a really big week for us. Next Monday, an episode will come out as it always does. It'll be Cooperative Calligraphy with our friend Alex Webster. We'll be doing on Thursday, before that Monday, we'll be doing the last For You Can't Diss a Pre-show with Alex Webster. And next Monday, when that episode comes out, is also when our Patreon launches. So on that day, you'll have an episode of our podcast to listen to. If you sign up for Patreon, you'll have an episode of Nerdstalgia and possibly more to listen to on that first day. And even more, we're going to be live on the internet all day. We mentioned earlier, we're talking 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., but keep your eyes glued to our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to find out the details on that. And here's the big thing, is it's going to be kind of a telethon. And if we reach a certain number of patrons by the end of the evening, Steven and I are going to do something really silly. What are we going to do, buddy?
We are going to finally get to perform our duet, our signature song together, the beautiful Guy Love from Scrubs.
You heard that right. If you hang out with us on that live stream all day, which you totally should, we're going to do all kinds of things. We're going to have talks, we're going to have games, we're going to have guests. If you sign up for Patreon on our first day, it'll go towards our live stream telethon. And if by 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern on February 1st, we reach $200 pledged to our Patreon, Steven and I will be performing full out the song Guy Love from the musical episode of Scrubs. It'll be really silly and embarrassing, and I hope we get to do it. I hope you guys hang out with us and support us.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
I think that's it. Next week, like I said, we're talking cooperative calligraphy with Alex, so send us in your trivia, your MVP, and your favorite funny moment to where, Steven?
Well, you can email us at can'tdisappointpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Whew. You can follow us on Twitter at You Can't Disapod, and we're on Facebook at You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. What about those Instagram kids, Zach? Where can they find us?
They can find us at Can't Disappoint Podcast on Instagram. And beginning next Monday, find us at patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast for all of your extra Can't Disappoint podcast needs.
Real quick, Zach. Our producers in my ear. Okay. I would be remiss without thanking our sponsor for today, Gorilla Glue. Yes. Do you have a lot of deep cuts but no health insurance? Gorilla Glue, close that bad boy up. Do you want to get real high but aren't into illegal drugs? Gorilla Glue, perfect thing for you. Put it in a plastic bag, smell it a little bit, you're gonna be asleep. Are you tired of your things breaking and you can't fix it with regular glue? Gorilla Glue!
You're a Gorilla Grip guy with Gorilla Grip needs, and the only thing that calls for that is Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla Glue. Don't eat it.
Go to GorillaGlue.com with a special promo code Shove It Up Your Pooper and get 20% off your choice of Gorilla Glue products.
While supplies last. This code is a limited time offer. You got to get in about 6 seconds after this podcast drops, but if you're fast enough, boy, will you get the deal of a lifetime.
Live egregiously. Live Gorilla Glue. From inside the Dreamatorium, Black Lives Matter, I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And we'll see you next week in a lot of different ways, yeah? All right, let's get out of here. Bye.
At the dawn, I woke